Welcome back. We are continuing our look at frame animation in Photoshop. You see here on my screen, I've got just a photo that I took with my iPhone of my 12 frame panel. I'll probably get rid of 7. I don't like that. We'll see as we go. But to start off, I took my photo, my scan. Remember, hold it up upright. Don't set it on your desk and take a weird, ugly angle picture for it. And I opened it here, and I'm going to copy parts of it and put it in a new document. The reason I wanted to open it here is so that I can see how large the object is. So you see at the top here, this is about 4,000 pixels wide. This is a really pretty big image. But what I'm going to end up using is only going to end up being about these sizes. So you'll see here in a moment how once I copy out sections of the frame, that's going to tell me what size my new Photoshop document needs to be. Also remember, this is actually a JPEG document, so not all Photoshop features will be available. So to start off, I'm going to unlock this and go to my rectangular marquee tool, hold down Alt, mouse wheel, and you see here on this one, it's got the template that you'll get in class, has the different frames listed. This is a good chance to say if you want to go pose to pose or straight ahead. This one, I drew out one of my keyframes, and then I went to frame 7 and said, this is going to be my other keyframe. I actually wound up hating frame 7, and this one wound up being more of a straight ahead, but that's okay. So I'm just going to grab this and select that. I'm going to say Control C to copy it. And now I'm going to say Control N to make a new document. And you see it's copying the size of my clipboard. I'm going to say, let's actually just go 1,000 by 1,000. So we've got a little bit of room here. And create. So this is my new Photoshop document. This is where I'm going to make my animation. I'll say Control V to paste it. So you've got this nice picture here. And I'm actually going to go ahead and name this frame 1, if I can spell correctly. Now this process, I am just going to go and same thing here. I can actually move over on that one. Control C, Control E. You can see once they get all dropped in here, that will be fine. Slightly tedious, but they're all dropping in as their new layers. I'll probably have to rename them, but that's okay. There are all of our previous tools that we had for cleaning up sketches are also applicable here. And maybe they'll get used, maybe they won't. Also, one of the nice things about including some of the frame from your image is that it gives you some reference points. Also, this one, before I started drawing, I took a ruler and drew a light line straight across to give myself a little ground plane. And I really do hate frame 7. I'm going to skip that one. And it's also, the jury is also out on frame 8, whether or not that gets included or not. Remember from our last video, we talked about how it saves you a good bit of headache if you create all of your assets in Photoshop, all your layers, before you start the animation. If it keeps things from getting all piled up on weird random layers, this way we have a lot more control over what we see in each layer. Another reason I like having that ground plane in there is it does give me a nice reliable reference point so that when I want my cat to move, I can actually make sure it looks like that cat is moving. And, all right, so now we're basically done with that other one over there. Make sure that's out of the way. So we have, I might even bring my layers out here so I can see more of them. So you can see all my layers. So I've got 10 layers all together here. Actually, I have 11. So let's go ahead and say F2. When you get a little bit more practiced at this and you have more, you want to have more intricate or complex drawings, then we can go through and add things like shading and everything behind. But for right now, we're going to say, make sure you do this drop down, create frame animation. I'm going to say create frame animation. I've got frame 1. And now for this part, all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the visibility for everybody who's not the correct frame. So frame 1, I only see frame 1. Go through here, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4, and so on. And you can kind of get the hang of this or see where this is going. Frame 7, frame 8. This is a little bit tedious, but it's not so bad. Remember, we're only doing 12 seconds here or 12 frames here. This is at best half a second. Maybe it will be a full second depending on what we do. And then we'll probably go ahead and I might end up repeating frame 1 there. But we can just do a quick check here, go back and just say play. And so here you've animated. From here on out, the only difference between this and, you know, the amazing hand-drawn Disney stuff or whoever your favorite hand-drawn artists are is they put a lot more time and attention into it. But we do see we've got a couple of our principles here. We've got an anticipation of this guy coming back that way. And then up here, we've got some exaggeration happening. And then down here, when it kind of lands a little bit, we're trying to have some follow through. And so as you're doing this, you're going to kind of think of what's in frame 1. And if this is going to be looping, make sure that whatever is at frame 12 is you're also looking at that transition, or not frame 12, from your last frame to your first frame. Remember the transition there from the end back to the beginning is just as important if you want it to be a little bit more seamless. From here, we will also draw down some guides. Maybe I'll set one, maybe I'll just set one right here at the ground plane. And now I'm going to go to frame 2. And what I'm going to check for is that my ground plane on each frame is at the right height as this guideline. So there we got frame 3. And I'm using my arrow keys here to be a little bit more precise. You need to adjust the angle of it. We also say, make sure I'm frame 3, Control T. That lets you rotate it a little bit for some kind of more precise movements. Frame 4 also needs to go up. Also needs to rotate a little bit. And let's see, frame 5. So a lot of these, depending on the way that your camera was angled comparatively to your picture when you took it, I mean, you have more or less of this part to clean up. Also, I purposefully adjust things a little bit. Like maybe I'll say that one I'm going to go really far. And we'll see. That might end up looking dumb. I'll try it again later. Sorry. We also could come back to frame 6 and say, what if we made frame 6 a little bit bigger? We want to emphasize this. And when you go back and do your checks, these are things that might end up changing. You might say, you know what, I looked at that. That looks bad. I'm not going to do that. So pretty quickly also you can realize that even with only 11 frames here, the amount of kind of not tedious, but details that you have to do to make sure it looks fairly decent, you can see that with a much larger image, it would end up, or longer animation, you'd end up with a lot to do. Let me check this out. So as I'm watching this, I'm just thinking, does that look good? I think the edges are kind of throwing me off there, seeing those. So you might end up deleting those. Remember, also, you can, from your original image, you certainly could, before doing all of that, we could take this one and we could say, let's move this back over here. We could go to an adjustment and we could adjust our exposure to make this a lot brighter. And to try to get this a little bit more black and white, we also might give ourselves a little bump of the contrast. That works. Also, you certainly could come in and on any of this stuff, if you want to clean up your drawings before you bring them over, that's also fine too. Maybe I'd say my eraser. That line's terrible. One thing to watch out for though is that if you're ending up, you might need to fill in your background here before then. In short, you can clean up your drawings before you bring them over, but we've trimmed them now. Actually, probably could go to frame 1 here and get the same effect by saying adjustment and just putting this on top of everybody. And that should actually work for all of our layers there. And then remember, if you want to change some of the lengths on these, like maybe you want him to hang out here a little bit longer, maybe I want this one to go pretty quick. Let's just see. That feels a little choppy there. He hangs out there too long. Another thing that I end up doing a lot is I'll just bust out my calculator, do a little quick math, and say, all right, I've got 12 frames. I'm going to say 1 divided by 12 equals 0.083 repeating. So I could come here and I could say other, and I could type in 0.0833. Let's say that's close enough. Copy that, Control C's. Okay. Now go to all my other ones. And I'm sure there's a setting here where you can adjust that before you set up your animations. Probably the most efficient with this, but let's just see. If you're doing this a lot, you will probably find it helpful to set up some presets. So you would say every time, or when you start an animation, you would just always type this in before and say each frame make it this length. So if you knew that you were going to do say 24 frames, you would, and however much it's going to be for there. But that's also depending if you're doing on 1s or 2s or what the animation you're doing is. Debatable whether or not it works. But again, from here on out, it's dialing in your details. It's figuring out which works the best for you and your current project. But that is how we're going to do our hand-drawn frame animation.